Test 1, 2, 3. Good evening. Welcome to the Revere Zoning Board of Appeals. If you could rise and salute the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of the members of the ZBA. Mr. Lemonna? Here. Mr. Lopes? Here. Mr. O'Brien? Here. Mr. Pelton? Here. Ms. Pratt, alternate member? Here. And Chairman Tucker? Here. A quorum is present.
We can't go out of order because they're not in attendance yet, so we'll just continue with our calendar.
Great. First application is A2409, Jason and Megan Simons Hurling, 185 Endicott Ave, requesting a special permit from the ZBA pursuant to Section 1740040 to modify and expand an existing non-conforming single-family structure at 185 Endicott Ave.
Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Jason Simmons Hurling of 185 Endicott Ave. This is my wife, Megan. Sorry, I haven't done this before.
Okay. Do you have any additional information to add, or does this speak for itself?
I hope that it speaks for itself.
Okay. Seeing that it's a public hearing, I'll have to ask if there's any proponents in the audience. Is there anyone in favor of this application? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Other than the ward councilor is put on record as being in favor. So that's been noted. And now we will go on. Is there any opponents? Anyone opposed? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Do any members wish to speak? Then there's a motion to approve. I would ask for a roll call. With our standard conditions, please.
The standard conditions for a zoning board of appeals special permit are as follows. If the rights authorized by this special permit are not exercised within 2 years of the date of the grant of the special permit, the right shall lapse. The special permit shall not be valid until the appellant has recorded the variance and plan in the Suffolk County Registry of Deeds and submits document recording numbers and dates to the city clerk and building inspector of the city of Revere, and the appellant must receive site plan review approval prior to applying for a building permit. On the motion to approve the special permit with those conditions, Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Mr. Lopes? Yes. Mr. O'Brien? Yes. Mr. Pelton? Yes. And Chairman Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, the special permit has been granted. Application A2410, the neighborhood developers, 4 Garish Avenue, Chelsea, Mass., requesting an additional 6-month time extension of the 1-year exercise period from the Zoning Board of Appeals associated with the granted variances of A2328 to enable the appellant to construct a 7-story mixed-use building on the property known and numbered as 110 Ocean Avenue.
Good evening. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Nancy O'Neill, and I am an attorney located at 14 Proctor Avenue. I am here tonight on behalf of the applicant, the neighborhood developers. As you know, the neighborhood developers are a nonprofit organization that does a lot of fine work in the city of Revere and neighboring communities providing affordable housing. To this end, TND utilizes state and federal funding sources for their projects. And in the case of this 110 Ocean Avenue project, the federal funding program that they rely on is experiencing delays, which has in turn delayed TND's ability to begin construction. So accordingly, we would ask respectfully that the ZBA grant a 6-month extension of the variances. Thank you.
Okay, since we only do one extension in our rules, do you want to ask for a year? So, because you would, oh, you can't ask for a year, so 6 months, okay. Then, is there any proponents? Anyone in favor? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any opponents? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any members wish to speak? A motion to approve is on the floor with roll call.
Shall the Zoning Board of Appeals grant an additional 6-month extension of the 1-year exercise period of variance A2328? Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Mr. Lopes? Yes. Mr. O'Brien? Yes. Mr. Pelton? Yes. And Chairman Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, the time extension has been granted. Application A2411 is a special permit, Anwar Masood and Uzman Rahman, 142 Malden Street, requesting a special permit pursuant to Revere Revised Ordinances, Section 17.40.040, from the Zoning Board of Appeals for the alteration and extension of a pre-existing non-conforming single-family structure, in addition to the following variances to enable the appellant to convert the structure to a two-family dwelling at Malden Street. Minimum parking requirements, max height, and minimum number of stories.
Once again, name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Nancy O'Neill, and I am an attorney located at 14 Proctor Avenue, and I represent the applicants in this matter, the Masood Rahman family, owners of the 142 Malden Street property. And I am joined here tonight by the Masood Rahman family and their neighbors. Our proposal is for a vertical addition to the 142 Malden Street property. Which hopefully you can see here. See there behind me. So specifically, this addition would allow the property to be converted to a two-family residence. And two-family use is allowed by right in the RB district where this property is located. And many of the homes in this neighborhood, including all of the direct abutters, are 2 to 3 family homes. So this proposed conversion is nothing unusual for this neighborhood. So in summary, as part of this addition, the building footprint will remain unchanged and 2 stories will be added to the property. So I also have an illustration of the addition. So this addition is configured in this manner due to the technical conditions of this property, which are very challenging and prohibit expansion to either side of the property due to severe sloping. So the amount of sloping for this property is approximately 16 feet from the frontage on Malden Street to the rear of the property line. So if the structure were to be extended at the ground level, excavation and foundation bracing measures would need to be undertaken at great cost, the costs of which are not feasible here. And likewise, prohibitive excavation costs due to this sloping would also render the provision of a 4th parking space infeasible. So accordingly, the only feasible way to construct and provide additional living space at this property is by building up. So here we are proposing a two-story addition. Currently, the first story exists. It's a 1-story home with a below-grade garage. We would add 2 stories, and the building height would be 34 feet once completed. So importantly, this addition has been designed to be as unobtrusive as possible and to fit with the size and scale of neighboring properties. So as I mentioned, the variances requested here are relatively minor. In terms of height, what we're talking about is 34 feet, where 30 feet are allowed, and 3 stories, where 2.5 stories are allowed. But as you can see here, this is an attractive addition that is largely 2 stories and then a dormer floor on top. So the completed structure will be in line with the size and scale of neighboring structures, many of which are constructed with a similar configuration, which is a below-grade garage or basement and 2 to 3 floors above. So overall, the addition to 142 Malden Street is not expected to be out of place or have negative impacts on neighbors. And to this end, the direct abutters to the left and right of the property are in support and have submitted letters to the ZBA to this effect. And the letters reference that this addition and the 2-family conversion will allow the Rahman Masood family, who are long-term Revere residents, to remain in the property. And specifically, the addition would allow the property to be converted to the 2-family residence to be occupied by Mr. Rahman and his wife, Anwar Masood, on the 2nd and 3rd floors, and their father-in-law, Mr. Mashur Masood, to be on the 1st floor. So this proposed addition is a family project that will allow the Revere residents to enjoy their home for many years to come. And for these reasons, we respectfully request that the ZBA grant the requested relief. And as always, we are happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing that this is a public hearing, I'd ask if there's any proponents, anyone in favor? If you'd step up to the microphone and state your name on the record. If you're in favor, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
So I am next door, actually. My name is Al Abbas. I live at 144 Malden Street. Mr. Masood lives at 142 Malden Street. I lived with him for many years, and he's like very quiet neighbor, very clean, no loud music. And when he told me that he's going to come up with the second floor, normally you think that you're supposed to oppose that. But actually, I was wrong. Actually, I'm very supporting for him to come up with the second floor, because he'll be able to have a good life for his family with his daughter. They were looking to buy a house for many, many years. And we know that there's a housing dilemma. Nobody can buy houses nowadays. So the only way he can really live and actually support his daughter is to come up with the second floor. So that's why I'm fully supporting for that. Although I am next door from him and can affect my property, but I'm still supporting for that because I want him to have a good living for his family, and he's a good neighbor, quiet, clean, and I think I should be able to support him 100%. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other proponents? Anyone else in favor? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Are there any opponents? Anyone opposed? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Council, can I see the plot plan that you have allowed, because this is very small? So it's upside down, so I couldn't see the parking, so there is. Yeah, there's one right outside, or two. Okay, so with the current wall that's, they put up, that's large enough for a parking space? Because that's on their property now, right?
I guess. It's still
It
large.
is, okay. Just wanted to make sure of that. Any members wish to speak? The ward councillor has not contacted me to address any concerns.
We've been in touch with Ward Councilor Cogliandro. He's received the plans and he's gone down and visited the property, and he's informed us that he has no issues with the project.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve? There's a motion to approve on the floor with the conditions.
The conditions for the special permit are as follows. If the rights authorized by the special permit are not exercised within 2 years of the date of the grant of this special permit, the rights shall lapse. This special permit shall not be valid until the appellant has recorded this variance and plan in the Suffolk County Registry of Deeds and submits document recording numbers and dates to the city clerk and building inspector of the city of Revere, and the appellant must receive site plan review approval prior to applying for a building permit. Shall the Zoning Board of Appeals grant the relief requested for the special permit for 142 Malden Street? Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Mr. Lopes? Yes. Mr. O'Brien? Yes. Mr. Pelton? Yes. And Chairman Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, the special permit has been granted.
Thank you.
Next application is A2412, Jason Jones, 8 Payson Street, requesting the following variances to enable the appellant to construct a single-family dwelling on lots 6, 7, and 8 at the intersection of Walnut Street and Richard Street, minimum rear yard setback and minimum front yard setback.
Good evening. Could you press the microphone, state your name and address for the record, please?
Good evening, Jason Jones, 10 Payson Street, Revere, Mass. 02151.
I think your application speaks for itself unless you want to add anything to it.
No.
Okay. I was able to go and tour the property, and I found it finally in the back there. So I would ask, where it's a public hearing, are there any proponents? Anyone in favor? If you'd kindly step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
My name is John Popolo. I live at 7 Oak Tree Lane, Revere. My property is just diagonal adjacent to where Mr. Jones wants to build the property. I have no problem with him with the building of the house. What I do have a problem with is that across from my house, there is a curbed sidewalk that is in disarray. It hasn't been, it's all junk and trees overgrown, all right? I spoke to Councilor Janino that he should come up there and look at it, which he did, and he said he would address the council on it. Also, that Richard Street, it's a closed street right now. It's only a street in name. I would like to see a curb cut and that street open. Since that street's been closed, there are approximately 8 houses up beyond me that...
Unfortunately,
people-
that's not part of our zoning board of appeals.
Well,
So that would have to be taken up with the ward counselor.
okay.
And then
what
you could
council-
take it up with the building department or whatever, any other
Okay.
agencies.
I've been
in the
trying for
city.
this for a long time, but it wasn't. But I have no problem with Mr. Jones building a house there. Maybe they'll clean up that area.
Great.
Thank you.
Are there any other proponents? Please kindly step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is J.J. Jones, 5 Ridge Street. I'm Jason's brother and next door neighbor. My mother's here as well. She's 12 Richard Street. She lives directly across the street. Further up the street is my grandmother's house. It's pretty much all of our whole family is on the street, and we've been there for generations. So for him to build a house and come back home is pretty much a dream realized for my dad. So I'm definitely in favor of this, and to address the
If you could
gentleman's...
just give your mother's address as well as what?
Patricia Jones,
Okay,
12
great.
Richard Street.
All right, so there's no need for you to step up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're definitely all in favor of this, and to address the gentleman's issues, everything will be cleaned up once construction begins.
I thank you for letting me interrupt your basketball game when I
Oh,
was up
yes,
there,
it
because that
is.
was me.
The players
All
are
righty.
interested.
Are there any other proponents? And no, you don't have to get up because we did record you as a proponent, okay? Thank you. Are there any other proponents? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any opponents? Anyone opposed? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any members wish to speak? There's a motion to approve with our current conditions. Roll call.
The conditions for the ZBA variance are as follows. If the rights authorized by this variance are not exercised within 1 year of the date of the grant of this variance, the rights shall lapse. This variance shall not be valid until the appellant has recorded this variance and plan in the Suffolk County Registry of Deeds and submits document recording numbers and dates to the city clerk and building inspector of the city of Revere, and the appellant must receive site plan review approval prior to applying for a building permit. Shall the zoning board of appeals grant the relief requested for lots 6, 7, and 8 at the intersection of Walnut and Richard Street? Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Mr. Lopes? Yes. Mr. O'Brien? Yes. Mr. Pelton? Yes. And Chairman Tucker? Yes, the variance has been granted.
Yes.
Special permit application, A2413, Philip J. Consolo, 169 Rice Avenue, requesting a special permit from the ZBA pursuant to Revere Revised Ordinances, Section 1740040, to enable the appellant to improve a pre-existing non-conforming single-family structure by renovating the first floor and adding a second floor to the rear of the structure located at 169 Rice Ave. It's noted and recorded that Ms. Pratt, the alternate member, is recused from discussion on this application.
Is the applicant or their representative here to speak? Please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Lou Markakis, 152 Linway, Suite 3A, Lynn.
Okay.
We had a request to continue, and if the chairman and the clerk are not satisfied with that particular plot plan that we have, then we would request a continuance for a future date.
Yeah, the plot
2000.
plan is not the correct plot plan. It's from 2002. Would need an up-to-date plot plan.
So in that case, we'd request a continuance.
Okay, where this is a public hearing, though, I do have to ask if there's proponents and opponents. So I would ask if there's any proponents. Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. I would ask if there's any opponents. Anyone opposed? You got it. Good
Hi,
evening.
Chris Clark, 32 Wadsworth. We're in a butter in the back. I'm not going to go too in detail until everything's proposed, but I just don't know if you can even rehab the first floor. The thing is just a pile of sticks, pretty much. It's full of rodents. There's 2 giant raccoons that live there every night. I don't even know if that's your problem. But I just want to put that on the record. That's pretty much all I got to say for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Seeing that they need to submit a new plot plan with all our details on it, I would ask for a continuance. Is there a motion to continue? Motion to continue. Ask for a roll call, please.
Shall the zoning board of appeals allow the matter to be continued to the August, let's see. To the August 28th meeting of the zoning board of appeals? Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Yes, Mr. Lopes? Yes, Mr. O'Brien? Yes, Mr. Pelton? Yes, and Chairman Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, this matter will be continued. Application A2414, DeBellis De La Rosa Paulino, 425 Revere Beach Boulevard, requesting a variance of Revere Revised Ordinances, Section 17-36060A2, to enable the appellant to construct a roof sign 180 inches in width by 15 inches in height, indicating the name of the business, Tulum Taqueria, at 425 Revere Beach Boulevard.
Good evening, board members. My name is Daybelise De La Rosa, and this is my husband, Manny Severino. I have...
Need an address, please? You just have to state your address.
425 Revere Beach Boulevard, Tulum Taqueria. I have revised designs for the sign, if I can pass those.
Are the dimensions still the same?
No, they differ, yeah.
Is it
I
a-
have a few copies.
I would ask that the ward councilor take a look at this because it is a little bit larger. Although I have not had any comments from anybody, I would have to ask, being a public hearing, is there anyone as a proponent, anyone in favor? Seeing and hearing none, I'd close that side of the hearing. If the ward councilor wishes to speak,
Yes.
Councilor Angela Garino, Sawaya, Ward 5. I don't see a problem with this. I actually think it looks a lot better than that other one would. Because it goes straight across the top, and it's just like individual letters. It's not like a big eyesore. I like it better.
okay. So we haven't.
And I haven't had any complaints, so that's all that matters.
Exactly. Seeing that it's a public hearing, I will ask if there's any opponents. Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any councilors wish to speak?
Is the sign, is it a lighted sign?
No, so the sign is not going to be lighted. There's some spotlights that are already there that are going to illuminate the sign, but there's no additional electrical work or illumination to the sign.
I know doesn't the city have an ordinance of how big the signs have to be and the lighting and so forth?
This variance is to allow for a roof sign, which roof signs are not allowed in the city of Revere. So she's asking for an exception to that rule to allow her to construct this roof sign.
And there's no size?
Either way, if the ZBA were to grant this, the ZBA could put a condition on it, as with all the other variance applications, that they would need site plan review approval.
Okay.
I would like to add, if you don't mind, that granting the variance for the rooftop sign will not nullify or substantially derogate from the intent of the purpose of the zoning board ordinances for the following reason. The aesthetic integration, the proposed sign is designed to be harmonious with the architectural style of the building and the surrounding area. It will feature a modern, clean design that complements the existing structures and enhances the overall visual appeal of the neighborhood. The size and proportionality of the sign will be appropriately sized to the scale of the building, ensuring it does not dominate the skyline or create visual clutter. Its dimensions will be in proportion to roof line, maintaining a balanced and orderly appearance. Safety and considerations, the signs will be professionally installed and secure fastened to the roof, meeting all safety standards. It will not obstruct any views or create hazards for pedestrians or drivers. It will also be in consistency with zoning goals. The primary goals of the zoning ordinances are to maintain the aesthetic quality of the area, ensure safety, and prevent visual clutter. The proposed sign meets these goals by being aesthetically pleasing, safely installed, and proportionally sized. By addressing these points, the variance can be granted without compromising the objectives of the zoning ordinances. The sign will contribute positively to the business and the community, aligning with the overall vision of the area. Thank you very much.
Keep in mind that this property has been there for many years, and you don't own it, you're renting it off of the...
Correct, yes.
So there's been Dunkin' Donuts, there's been McDonald's, there's always been a roof sign. They're just doing things to conform with all of the regulations and getting the approval.
It's been very difficult to try to get this place open.
I am so happy that you're at the final stages.
Thank you
Because I
very
am in a
much.
butter too. Well, not on a butter, I can walk there.
Thank you.
So is there any other questions? Is this on the motion to approve? As for roll call. And we do want to state that the plan, so this is for a plan submitted,
The plan, so the zoning board of appeals would be approving this plan submitted today, dated July 1st, 24. Okay. Standard conditions?
the conditions would be based on site plan review.
So the standard
conditions.
zoning board of appeals conditions are as follows. If the rights authorized by this variance are not exercised within 1 year of the date of the grant of this variance, the right shall lapse. This variance shall not be valid until this variance has been recorded in the Suffolk County Registry of Deeds and submits document recording numbers and dates to the city clerk and building inspector of the city of Revere, and the appellant must receive site plan review approval prior to applying for a building permit. Shall the zoning board of appeals grant the relief requested for 425 Revere Beach Boulevard? Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Mr. Lopes? Yes. Mr. O'Brien? Yes. Mr. Pelton? Yes. And Chairman Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, the variance has been granted. There's no further business.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. We're adjourned until August 28th. Thank you.